saints go marching in. Turn me on. Am I on? I'm always on. Okay. Thank you, Portia. It's such a privilege to have Portia Love here as a vocalist with us today. The opening words, very short. Listen closely. I will not stay silent so that you can stay comfortable. I will not stay silent so that you can stay comfortable. And now we'll have the chalice lighting. Lynn Thompson is going to come and light the chalice for us. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we kindle this flame, we kindle our connection to the sacred web of life. Welcome, one and all. I am glad you have joined us in worship today with the community of First Unitarian Church of Omaha. I'm Douglas Lee Regier, it says so here in my notes, worship coordinator for today's service. Welcome to our guest speaker, Preston Love Jr., and his wife, Martha Parker Love. I see them on Facebook Live every Saturday morning. And as I have already mentioned, his sister Portia Love is our guest, one of our guest vocalists today. A special welcome to visitors, whether you are joining us online or in person. Whether you are a visitor or a longtime member, we are glad to have you with us. Our community is a rainbow of gender and sexual identities. It's a community of diverse cultural and class backgrounds. We draw from many sources of inspiration and share common liberal religious values. Whatever is in your heart, however it is with your soul in this moment, whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week, or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth, whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful, you are beloved and you are welcome here. Each week we acknowledge that where we worship at First Unitarian Church of Omaha is the land of the Omaha and Oto nations. May we recognize their presence among us, work with them to resolve the issues of poverty, displaced children, and murdered and missing Indigenous women. I have chosen for reading today selections by or about Leslie Marmon Silko and Toni Morrison, two of my favorite authors. From Ceremony by Leslie Marmon Silko, Native American writer, I will tell you something about stories. They aren't just entertainment. Don't be fooled. They are all we have. So they try to destroy the stories. Let the stories be confused or forgotten. They would like that, and they would be happy, because we would be defenseless then. Later in the book, she has her main character say, "But as long as you remember what you have seen, then nothing is gone. As long as you remember, it is part of this story we have together." And then of Toni Morrison's beloved, I've read all of Toni Morrison's books. I consider her prophetic and a great American author. The critic says, it is Setha, a black woman and a former slave, who tries to find her own identity within herself through stories. She has to go back to the stories of her ancestors and to the memories she has of her life on Sweet Home in order to find out what being free really means. While trying to start a new life, she listens to many stories about her past and is confronted with her own stories. In whichever form, told, sung, or danced out in front of her, the stories appear. They mark her, her daughter, and her companion's identity. Throughout the novel, the characters have to decide whether they want to keep on keeping their silence or whether they are ready to face their past and can start telling their story. What seems to be an easy task is exposed as a painful and frightening experience in a world where those who have not shared the same stories are hardly able to understand. The novel opens with characters still traumatized by many years after their escape from slavery. They are numb, almost incapable of emotion because they have suffered so deeply and seen such terror. That could be one reason why Toni Morris ends her novel by telling the reader that this was not a story to pass on. But of course, Morrison does pass it on, because sometimes it is the stories that nobody wants to hear and nobody wants to tell that need telling the most. Music, Deep River, sung by Bill Tooley. rendition is a meditation. I see people were really moved by that, myself as well. Now I'd like to join me, if you can and if you will, a few minutes of quiet meditation, whatever that means to you, whatever your method of drawing on that source. I'd like you to find a comfortable position where you are. Let yourself sink in, feet touching the floor, spine fairly erect, nice deep breaths all the way in and all the way out. Take a minute to do that. One of the themes of today's service is deep listening. We need to listen to others' stories. We need to listen to what people have to say around us. And we need to go within and listen to our own true self, drawing on whatever source you have to help you to listen, to be attuned, and to be in the present moment right now. Let's take a couple minutes to do that, seeing within you all you need to know, hearing the voice telling you all you need to know, and setting you ready for action. Now we've come to the time for sharing together. We share our joys with others so that those joys may be multiplied. We share our concerns so that our community can offer its care. I'm looking to Colin to see if he has any submitted joys or concerns. I also want to mention that if anyone has turned in a joy or concern to the ushers, if you'd bring that up to me, thank you.
I have one from Vanessa Timberlake saying, "Many thanks to everyone who provided so much love and comfort during my dad's last 4 months. The cards and emails supported me as I try to support him, and I'm very grateful." And nothing has come into the chat. Give that a couple more minutes here. Don't see anything. So.
Thank you, Colin. We all have joys and concerns. Some are shared and some are not shared. Somebody wants to say something? The joy of music. Our pianist and music director. Thank you. Okay, Dan.
I have a joy yesterday. For the first time, I saw a young Muslim woman in hijab acting as a teller in the local bank.
Everybody hear that okay? You didn't get it there? Oh, yes. I will repeat it as soon as Dan speaks it out a little bit louder for me. Dan? I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry. Yesterday, for the first time, I saw a young Muslim woman wearing hijab acting as a teller in my local bank. I think as we see people of minorities, other than any of you are commonly accepting, among us taking positions of responsibility, that's a move forward.
Okay, this is about inclusivity. And Dan saw a a Muslim woman wearing a job as a teller in his bank. Thank you for sharing that. And back here, okay, I don't know if I'll be able to hear you, but go ahead. Fantastic. Yes. For her mother, who is 98 tomorrow on her birthday. Thank you for sharing. And Bill, is that your hand? Yeah. You check. Okay, I got that this was about your partner, Bill. And he's doing well? He's right here. Okay, fantastic. Elaine, loud. This was a joy about her partner, who I know is named Henry, who has great skills and helped her put up a shade on the west side for her porch. And I guess she learned that this fish needed a bicycle. Sorry, I just had to do that. And yes, Martha. Thank you, Martha. She's expressing joy for peace in her household with Jesus Christ being the center of her home. I think, and, okay.
I am so joyful that this new up-and-coming artist is coming to town. His name is Leon Bridges, and he's playing at the Stir Concert, Stir Concert Cove on August 26th, and everybody should go see him. Leon Bridges, look him up.
I don't know if I
I'm excited I gotta go see him, but listen to him.
She's so excited. And the artist's name who's coming to town is Leon Bridges. Okay, everybody check that out. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. I'll call Nadine forward, and she's going to introduce the offertory, which will include the music for the offertory will be Come Sunday by Duke Ellington with Portia Love at vocals after she introduces the offering.
On a rare fifth Sunday, which this is, we take a special collection for a group which this church supports. And today, the recipient of this offering is the partner church in Furtos Martinos, Romania. If you're making a gift to the partner church, please designate in your cash or your check donations that it's for partner church. We've had a relationship with this church since 1992. This church in a small agricultural village in Transylvania, northern Romania. The UUA helped establish relationships with congregations in that area after the Romanian dictator Nicolae Ceausescu in the 80s threatened to destroy all those churches where European Unitarianism was born. So through the years, a number of members of this church have visited Virtus Martinos and the surrounding historic Unitarian sites. And the minister there, Reverend Kati, has visited here twice. Our church has pledged quarterly donations to support the repair and upkeep of the village church in Parsonage and provide scholarships so that village students can attend the regional Unitarian high school. But our current financial situation now dictates that providing this support is no longer possible. Your contributions today will help make this year's obligation to that congregation possible as we sadly end this special relationship we have had with what Janet West, who chaired this committee for many years, called our Unitarian cousins.
I'd like to start by apologizing to everyone for my phone ringing. I see several people out there who are at least my age, and I need a young person to teach me how to turn that door. I did. I actually turned it all the way down when I came in, and then it still rang. So please accept my apology for that interruption. You're older than I am. You can't laugh. Lord, dear Lord of love, God Almighty, God above, please look down and see my people through. Lord, dear Lord of love, God Almighty, God above, please look down and see my people through. I believe the sun and moon will shine up in the sky. When the day is gray, I know they're clouds just passing by. He'll give peace and comfort to every troubled mind. Come Sunday, that's the day. Often we feel weary, but he knows our every care. Go to him in secret, and he'll hear your every prayer. Lilies on the valley, they neither toil nor spin, and flowers bloom in springtime, little birds sing. Lord, dear Lord of love, God Almighty, God above, please look down and see my people through. Ooh. come Sunday, that's the day.
Thank you, Portia. Very stirring. We're so lucky to have the Love family, part of the Love family at least, with us here today. I really appreciate them. Let's give them another welcome. I must admit, I kind of go way back with the Love family, but they don't know that. Friends of friends and following them and so on and so forth. And as I told Portia, my friend Maxwell Butcher, whom she remembers so dearly, used to take me to hear Portia, and Maxwell would get up and sing too, when Preston Love Sr. was playing his saxophone around town. Yeah, so thanks for all that. Preston Love Jr. is a very familiar face around our community. His resume is very impressive. He's currently adjunct professor at UNO. He's a familiar image to all of us. As a politician, he was a candidate for U.S. Senate in Nebraska in 2020. Thanks for stepping in to do that. Way back in 1984, he served as Jesse Jackson's campaign manager during the Democratic primaries. He is an activist and an advocate for the community, holding regular community meetings, often at 24th and Lake, and speaking events in North Omaha. Personally, I've already mentioned this, I enjoy tuning in Saturday morning to Facebook Live with him and his wife, having fun and raising the spirit and speaking to the community. He is the founder and director of the Institute for Urban Development, and he directs the North Omaha Legacy Tours. Are we going to have brochures? Maybe not. Today after church? Okay, great. And some of us, some of our congregation, some members of our congregation have told me they have been on these legacy tours, and you can find out more after the service. And he recently returned from his annual Civil Rights Tour of the South and Washington, D.C., which again I'd like to hear more about sometime. I've asked Preston to take the high pulpit today and to speak from his heart there. And I see Martha is coming forward too. Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Is my time up? Oh. What do you do way up here? I tell you, if you're not articulate and you are scared to speak, you come up here and you get anointed. I am thrilled to be in the house. This is a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place. Applaud yourself. I surely want to thank Doug for being your representative to invite me. It's my pleasure. I want to say hello to my dear friend Elaine, who I've known for years as a fellow foot soldier in the work that we have to do. So there may be others that I know that I don't recognize behind the mask, but I know you're there. Surely want to say that you are fortunate to have musicians that know how to play. Yeah, a lot of people have musicians. So, and Bill, you brought me up. That was a wonderful rendition, and congratulations to you. Surely want to say how much I appreciate it. The two songs by my dear sister. My sister, I am so proud of. In case you're wondering, and I know you are, you're trying to figure out which one of us is the oldest. I think you are. But I am 14 years older than my sister. My sister is an inspiration to me. I've known my sister as my little sister who I changed the diapers for. I've known my sister as a friend. I've known my sister as my surrogate mother when I was down and out and in the streets and falling victim to the allure of the street. She was my mother. And then I knew her as someone who inspired me because she is a cancer survivor twice. My sister is my friend, and I love her very much. Now, I don't know how much time that I have, but my sister and I are going to cry 10 minutes of it. And I surely want to acknowledge and give my attention and your attention to my dear wife. Anybody who, and I appreciate the fact that in your church service you allow people to stand and just give comments on joy or other things. And so I will allow you to take the opportunity now to guess how long my wife and I have been married. 55 years. I'm like an auctioneer. Do I hear 56? Oh yeah, that makes her 118 years old, yeah. Okay, the answer is we've been married 8 years. So, you should know what a gray-haired newlywed looks like. And so, my dear wife, 2 years ago, I had a stroke, and because of it, I don't have all the feeling in my hands and on my left-hand side. I need my right hand to give me firm security. Some of you may know this story. But when I walk upstairs, I need to use this hand. It's hard to carry with the other hand. And if I do carry, because I don't have the feeling, I may drop it. And so, guess what? I have been blessed so many ways. I don't care if I have impediments on my left-hand side. I do not care. It is something that I have to be aware of. Something some of you may know that I play football for the Huskers. Now, in some quarters, you get an applause for that. Not here. But I know why. Because when I played for the Huskers, we won games. But nobody's calling me on the phone or texting me about coming back to play football. I don't care if my left hand doesn't work like it used to. I'm okay with what I got. And my message could be to you, be okay with what you got. Because God, your maker, has given you gifts, and he knows and she knows what they're doing. And so I accept who I am right now. Who cares if I need my wife to carry my notes when I come to speak? I'm blessed with the opportunity and the ability to speak. And so to focus on how I come to you is irrelevant. May I get a hand for that? What I'm saying to you in my own way is I'm joyful. I'm joyful. My whole self is joyful. And I'm grateful. Some of you held your hand up about things that you're joyful about. I'm joyful. I'm joyful. And I'm blessed. How do I look today? I look okay? You okay? Yeah. It's a trick question. Because what you may or may not know, maybe Elaine does, is I have been delivered. I've been delivered. Looking swell today, yes, but I've been delivered. I, Preston Love Jr., candidate for the United States Senate, have had years in my life where I was homeless and on the street, looking and smelling bad. I've been delivered. I'm joyful that I've been delivered. And quite frankly, it has made me, the experience has, had I been elected to Senate, United States Senate, I would have been a better senator because I had been through life, the ups and the downs. We need more people in elected office who are not high profile, but don't understand others who have different profiles. I hope you understand. I've been blessed with being delivered, but the blessings have gone beyond that. I have gifts, many of them. My family has so many gifts. My wonderful sister is not only a songstress, she is a tremendous writer. She is a poetress. Yeah. I want to talk, if I have the time, a little bit later about my national tour and what we do with our youth. But before that, I will just mention that I have written 5 books since I've been delivered. 5. And 2 of them are children's books. And they both were co-authored by my sister. They're children's book about history. And so my sister is that also. I have been blessed with gifts also. I found out later in life that I too could sing to some degree. Would y'all like to hear a half hour worth of my repertoire? I have a gift and other gifts. But the other and most important gift that I'll use as the bedrock for my comments today is I have been given the gift of experience and wisdom. I report to you today, Elaine, that I am 80 years old. 80 years old. With becoming 80, there comes the gifts of experience and maybe wisdom. And with that comes a very unique responsibility and opportunity to share the experiences and the wisdom. Are you with me? That responsibility. And the history of it all. As a matter of fact, I have a theory which has never been proven in some court of law or some great debate. But I think that our Maker has thought this through, that the experiences of life should not be forgotten. Somebody has to be left around to transmit and to pass on experiences that others have not experienced. Would you want to raise your kids up to 12 and then everybody leave? No. You, without realizing it, begin early in your children's and grandchildren's life to express your experiences and wisdom to them for their growth. But that continues beyond your children, but in a community that maybe doesn't know its own history, its own culture, and its own heritage. Somebody has to stay around and pass it on. That's why some of us are 80. And some of us are not. Did you know that guy, Abraham Lincoln, you know how old he was when he was assassinated? Anybody? He was 56. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands because I may get more than I thought. But how many of you are at least, don't show me, but how many of you are at least 56? So think about 56. Are you ready to go? No, you're not. You are not. I'm saying to you, at 56, he was finished. Not 80, 56. All that he did and was involved in and all of that, the Civil War, the Emancipation Proclamation, all of that, he died in 1865 at 56 years old. Well, how about John F. Kennedy? You know how old he was when he was assassinated. He was 46 years old. And all that he did and tried to accomplish and planned to accomplish, he only lived to 46. Not 80. And how about Malcolm X? Malcolm X. Do you know how old he was when he passed in 1965? 39. And all that he became internationally and to some degree, the African American community, but much more. He died. He was assassinated right before he became 40, not 80. And to end this little satay, what about Martin Luther King, who we have gone so far as to give a national holiday, who accomplished enough to get the Nobel Peace Prize, and who myself as a historian, give a lot of the credit for the victories of the civil rights movement, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, and the 1968 Fair Housing Act. And not only that, many other victories. He was assassinated at the age of 39, not 80. And so I say to you, there's a message in all of their deaths and so many others, if I had the time, that assassinations are able to kill or to eliminate its leaders or the leadership. But in all cases, they don't assassinate or eliminate the movement. Are you with me? And so some could say that if that might be one of us, when our work is done, we can be removed from the playing field and leave some to live to 80 and 90 to tell the story and tell the truth about what really happened. So I take this responsibility of being 80 years old. I don't take it lightly. That's why at 78, I guess I was, why would a 78-year-old run for the United States Senate as a write-in? Not to win. It'd been nice to win. Because I used the platform of running for Senate to tell the story and stories about the truth of what happened during my lifetime. That's part of my gift for being 80 or 78. Or the other things that I'm doing, my classmates from my high school graduating class and my University of Nebraska fellow graduates, they're dying. They're ill. They're homebound. I'm writing books. I write an editorial about truth in the Omaha World Herald every so often. Any of you read my editorials? Thank you for telling. Are you telling the truth? No. but thank you. I run 2 nonprofits. One called Black Votes Matter, which I spend lots of time, mostly nonpartisanly, getting folks out to vote, no matter who they may vote for, getting folks out to vote. And I run another that is focusing on doing the things to help corporations and individuals figure out what are we talking about and what shall I do about diversity, equity, and inclusion, to consult in that. It was mentioned that I do 2 tours. One is local and one is national. I'll spend maybe a moment with you on that. My point is that it is even at 80, silence is not an option. Silence should not be an option at 70 or 60 or 50, 40, 30, 20. Silence is not an option, my beloved. Let's reflect on why it should not be in 2022. Well, you should know, just like I do, how Doug, our country is divided. Oh, we're divided, not just divided, but we're divided in many, many different ways. Oh, we're divided by race. We're divided by misunderstandings and misinformation and all of that as it relates to gender. We're divided on whether a woman should have the right to make decisions about, her own body. We're divided on that. And we're divided on someone's choice of life as it relates to who their partners are. We're divided on that. And not only are we divided, we're divisive about our division. And not only those, but the rise. Did you notice? And I didn't really think about it until I thought about coming before you to list the several people who I just used an example of their age, that they all were assassinated. Well, hate is killing us day by day. Hate. Some of that hate is rooted in ignorance, in some of the other issues. There's some hate relating to gender. There's some hate related to race. I mean, we're not just talking about divisiveness or divisions. Now we've added another layer to it, which is hate. So many of these random and ridiculous shootings everywhere, they're based on, to some degree, hate, and to some degree, mental health. I'm making a list of whether you're catching that, of where we are. And Oh my goodness gracious. We look to our left and we have raging fires. Look to my right and there's flooding. And if we pause for a season, there will be tornadoes and hurricanes that will destroy communities. We surely are victims of political silos, urban, rural. And what about making some intelligent decisions as it relates to the climate? That seems so basic. We're divided on that as well. So much misinformation. You know, just in the last 5 years, it has got to a point where most of us can't tell the difference between the truth and a lie. Because if a lie is told over and over, or misinformation, you can't sort it out. You can't sort it out because your drumbeat of truth is overwhelmed by the drumbeat of misinformation, and there's enough who are signing up for the misinformation as it is for the truth, and it is gotten to a point you can't get your foot settled and firm on the truth. Oh, mass shootings could be a way I could take some more time. I don't even want to stop there. But let me propose to you, as your speaking 80-year-old, shall we collectively, Douglas and Elaine and the rest of you, may I propose this, and I will give you a chance to vote on it verbally. Maybe what we should do is just see what happens. No. We can't afford to lay back and see what happens, given the many things I've just mentioned and some of which I have not. We cannot. I have as my title simply silence is no longer an option. We cannot just wait and see what happens to all of these things I've mentioned. But the major thing I want you to sit up and understand is it doesn't have to do with us anymore. It surely doesn't have anything to do with a gray-haired 80-year-old. It has to do with our youth, our kids, our grandchildren. We've got to not be silent and let these things become the world that our youth are going to live in. And not only that, we have the responsibility not to just wait and see what happens. We, every one of us in this room in our own way, we don't have to be Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, none of those. We don't have to do that. We can be as much as a leader at our dinner table as Lincoln was a leader and King was too. Stand up at the dinner table and fight hate, fight divisiveness, fight misinformation. Silence at the dinner table is as much harm as not voting or not being active in your own way on just one of these issues before us. My short time with you, I want to say this, that at my ripe old age, my wife and I just returned from our annual youth history tour. I'm not talking about I thought about it and I conceived it and I sent them on their way. I'm saying we just returned from the trip this year of 65 people, 30 of which were high school kids. We went to Memphis, where King was killed. We went to Jackson, Mississippi, where Emmett Till was killed, and where Medgar Evers was shot down in his driveway. And we went on to Birmingham, where 4 little girls were killed in a church, the 16th Street Baptist Church, on Sunday, bombed by the Ku Klux Klan. And we went on from there to across the street to the Kelly Ingram Park, where you have the mental images of the fire hoses and the dogs biting. That's where it was, right across the street from that church. And we went on from there, and we went to Tuskegee and all of its history, and to Selma and all of its history, where John Lewis and others fought for the right to vote, and walked across the Edmund Bridge with those 65 people. And by the way, when we walked across the bridge, and the Edmund Pettus Bridge, less than a month ago, my heart, my 7th time walking across the bridge, I still am emotional about what that bridge has turned out to be historically and what it all means. And those kids are touched. Those kids, by raise of hands, I asked them before the trip, how many of you know Martin Luther King? I get 100%. I asked them, how many of you know Medgar Evers? I get maybe 1. How many of you know Andrew Young? How many of you know Fred Shuttlesworth? How many of you know Medgar? My kids, our kids, your kids don't know any of them. They don't know any of the history about the people or the places. The gift of 80 years old is to make sure that we get that message to them. And so we just came back. We also go to Montgomery and all of its history, and then we end the trip in Atlanta, and about where Martin Luther King went to church and the house he grew up with and where he's buried. But when the kids finish that 1 week, they are transformed and better prepared to be leaders and responsible. That trip, I want to tell you, this year we had 15, I think it was to 15, give or take a few, we had 15 adults. I offer you the opportunity to go on the tour next year. We are now taking a separate vehicle. We have charter buses is how we travel. But I pay all of the expenses for the kids. Every year I raise, go ahead, because that's how I really got the gray hair. Every year I raise about $65,000 to pay for that trip. Thank you. We pay everything. They don't, well, if they want to buy their grandmother 21 t-shirts, they got to do that themselves. But we do all the logistics, all of that. But we do offer to adults up to 25. We take them on a trailing charter to experience it. We're getting more interest in that. So this year we took about 15. And I offer to you, if any of you would like to do that, we can talk about it later. I have brochures and all of that. But that surely is something we offer. You have to pay your own way and all of that. But we would welcome you to do so. I would want you to know that you're behind. Unitarians are behind because the Presbyterians and the United Methodists and they're one or two ahead of you. So I want to say as I close that I wanted to come before you primarily because I know without knowing you, I love you. And I love that you have made the whole family available for a family reunion right here at the church. But how much we do need to love each other. We don't all need to be Baptists, or my wife and I are members of the Church of God in Christ. We don't need to be Lutherans or Presbyterians or we just, for some part of ourselves, need to just love each other. And realize that silence is no longer an option, regardless of your age. I want to thank you for your time. And let me just say, as any used car salesman would say, we do have a few of these books available. I'm going to make a gift to the church with this book is really two books. There's one that is bilingual and one that is English. I'm making a gift of one of each to the church. If someone wanted to buy, if that's okay with my co-author. She says, no, you got to pay for them. Yeah. But in my final close, I just want to say that we're all in this together. And let us not make the mistake, no matter what our ages are, to just sit back and see what happens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Preston. Thank you for sharing your experience. Yes, your wisdom. Thank you, Martha, for helping him up there and for being and putting up with him. And thanks again for everything you have done. We are now going to have our closing hymn. It's the only one that we have these days with the COVID presence. So we're going to sing 149 in the Singing the Living Tradition. Lift every voice and sing.
Hymn 149 in your hymnal. Please stand.
Yeah, stand up.
Of
Congratulations for that. Just a couple of short announcements, and then I would like to invite everyone to come downstairs for coffee hour. We are having coffee today. And to greet, I would like to invite the Love family reunion to come down and join us there, if you can and if you will. And so, two announcements. John Mangini has announced that the Afghan refugee family that we've helped sponsor is in the process of seeking asylum status. In addition, this week they applied for temporary protective status. So we hope for that and wish them the best. Also, Gene Wagner says that our KIOS underwriting bundle campaign was a success. $2,820 was raised and will underwrite 126 spots on primetime and weekend programming on KIOS for the next year. Thank you to all our generous members and friends for their support. Now for the closing words. May our thoughts and prayers turn into actions, and may our listening bring a deeper awareness to our action. Judy on the piano.
Okay, so, oops, I need a little mic. Thank you. So this song, I just want to tell a little joke this morning. I was going to have Bill sing it with me. He didn't know the song, this Nina Simone song. I told him I was going to tease him. And I learned it from a Mexican. So here we go. I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains holding me. I wish I could say all the things that I could say. Say them loud, say them clear, for the whole round world to hear. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. I wish you could know what it means to be free. Then you'd see and agree that every man should be free. I could give all the longing to give. I wish I could live like I'm longing to live. I wish I could do all the things that I can do. Though I'm way overdue, I'd be starting anew. Well, I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be if I found I could fly. Oh, I went to the sun and looked down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know, and I'd sing, 'cause I know.